I never thought I, 25F, would be writing this post, but the events of the past few months have forced me to share my story. My older sister Jennifer, 28F, has always been jealous of my relationship with my boyfriend Richard, 27M, and things have finally reached a breaking point. For context, Jennifer and I grew up in an upper-middle-class family where appearance and success were everything. Jennifer was always the golden child, straight A's, debate team captain, cheerleader, you name it. She got into an Ivy League school and now works as an investment banker making six figures. I, on the other hand, was more creative. I struggled with math and sciences but excelled in art. My parents never understood this and constantly compared us. I remember when I was 16, I won a national art competition. Instead of celebrating, my parents focused on how Jennifer had just gotten accepted into 3 prestigious universities. This was pretty much how things always went in our house. Jennifer would achieve something academic, and my accomplishments would be brushed aside. Despite all this, Jennifer and I maintained a decent relationship through our early 20s. She dated a series of guys who were all successful but, according to our mother, not quite handsome enough for her perfect daughter. 3 years ago, she started dating Mark, 29M. Mark works in tech and makes good money, but he's pretty average looking, short, starting to bald, but genuinely nice and completely devoted to Jennifer. Then I met Richard at a local coffee shop where I was working on some freelance designs. He spilled his coffee on my laptop, and instead of getting angry, we ended up talking for hours. Richard was doing his PhD in engineering, and despite being ridiculously good-looking, like model good-looking, he was the most down-to-earth person I'd ever met. We started dating, and for the first time in my life, I felt truly happy. The problem started when I brought Richard to our monthly family dinner. I noticed how Jennifer's expression changed when she saw him. Throughout dinner, she kept mentioning how she used to model part-time in college, she did one photo shoot, and how she and Richard must have so much in common being in intellectual fields. She barely acknowledged Mark, who was sitting right next to her. After that, Jennifer's behavior became increasingly problematic. She would show up uninvited when Richard and I were out, wearing increasingly revealing outfits. She started attending his department's public lectures, sitting in the front row and asking questions just to get his attention. Once, during a family pool party, she wore the tiniest bikini I've ever seen and kept asking Richard to apply sunscreen on her back, even though Mark was right there. Things got worse during holidays. Last Thanksgiving, she got drunk and tried to sit on Richard's lap during charades, claiming there weren't enough chairs. There were plenty. During Christmas, she cornered him under the mistletoe and tried to kiss him on the lips, later claiming it was just tradition. Richard would always move away or make excuses, but Jennifer was relentless. I found out she was sending Richard messages late at night, asking him to meet her secretly, telling him how they were meant to be together and how Mark could never compare to him. Richard had been blocking her numbers, but she kept creating new ones. She even made fake social media accounts to message him after he blocked her main accounts. When I confronted Jennifer about her behavior, she would either deny everything or turn it around on me. She'd say things like, "You're just insecure because you know Richard's too good for you, or he obviously wants someone more on his intellectual level." She told our parents I was being paranoid and making up stories because I was jealous of her success. Our parents, predictably, took her side. Mom said I should be flattered that men found my sister attractive and that I was being too controlling of Richard. Dad suggested I should work on myself instead of accusing Jennifer of things she'd never do. They reminded me how Jennifer had always been the more successful one and suggested maybe I was creating drama because I couldn't handle her achievements. The situation finally exploded at our parents' 30th anniversary party last month. Richard went to the kitchen to get more ice, and I followed a few minutes later because he was taking too long. I found Jennifer pressing herself against him, trying to kiss him while he pushed her away. Richard looked relieved when he saw me and immediately told me Jennifer had been harassing him for months. He showed me all the messages she'd sent him, which he'd saved just in case something like this happened. I was furious but also knew I needed to be smart about this. Instead of confronting Jennifer directly, I reached out to Mark. We met for coffee, and I showed him everything: the messages, pictures of Jennifer's inappropriate outfits, videos from family gatherings showing her behavior toward Richard. Mark was devastated but admitted he'd had suspicions. He revealed that Jennifer had been telling him a completely different story, that Richard was pursuing her and she was just trying to gather evidence to show me what a cheater he was. Mark did some digging and found hundreds of unsent drafts on Jennifer's phone, all messages to Richard that she'd written but hadn't sent. He also found a hidden folder of photos she'd taken of Richard without his knowledge. That was the last straw for Mark. He broke up with Jennifer the next day, telling her exactly why. Jennifer completely lost it. She showed up at our parents' house, crying hysterically, claiming I had manipulated Mark and destroyed her relationship because I was jealous of her success. Our parents bought her story completely. They called me horrible names, said I was dead to them, and told me I needed to apologize to Jennifer and help her get Mark back. When I refused, they cut me off completely, financially and emotionally. They said I was written out of their will and no longer welcome in their house. They even called my freelance clients and told them I was unstable and shouldn't be trusted. Thankfully, my clients didn't believe them. Richard has been my rock through all of this. He helped me move into his apartment and has been supporting me while I rebuild my client base. He says he's never been more certain about our relationship, despite all the drama Jennifer caused. Jennifer is still playing the victim on social media, posting quotes about betrayal and how blood isn't always thicker than water. Some relatives have taken her side, but others saw through her act after I shared the evidence. I don't regret exposing her behavior. She tried to steal my happiness because she couldn't stand seeing me with someone she thought should be hers. I'm done with Jennifer and my parents. Some people have suggested family therapy, but I don't see the point. How do you repair a relationship with people who never believed in you in the first place? Update 1 First, I want to thank everyone who commented on my original post. Your support has meant everything during this difficult time. The past 2 weeks have been absolute chaos, and I need to share what's happened. The situation with Jennifer has escalated beyond anything I could have imagined. Last Tuesday, she showed up at Richard's university where he teaches engineering. She came during his office hours, wearing a tight dress and heels, claiming she needed to clear things up with him. When Richard's graduate assistant told her he was in a meeting with other faculty members, Jennifer started screaming that he was avoiding her and that they needed to tell everyone the truth about their relationship. The graduate assistant said Jennifer was hysterical, throwing papers off Richard's desk and knocking over his awards. She kept screaming about how Richard had pursued her for months, how they had secret meetings, and how I was too naive to see what was happening. Richard heard the commotion from his meeting down the hall and came out to find Jennifer trying to get into his private office. When he told her to leave, she started crying and tried to throw herself into his arms, saying things like "You don't have to pretend anymore and I know you love me more than her." Security had to physically remove her from the building. The whole scene was captured on the department's security cameras, which has turned out to be a blessing in disguise. The footage clearly shows Jennifer as the aggressor and Richard maintaining his distance. Richard's department head was incredibly understanding, but he had to file an incident report. Jennifer is now banned from the entire campus. But that was just the beginning. After the university incident, Jennifer started a vicious smear campaign. She created a fake email account and sent a mass email to everyone in our social circle, including Richard's colleagues and my clients, claiming that Richard had been having an affair with her for months. She even photoshopped pictures to make it look like they were intimate, taking innocent group photos from family gatherings and editing them to look inappropriate. Thank goodness Richard is meticulous about documentation. He had saved every harassing message, every fake account she made, and even installed security cameras at his apartment months ago when Jennifer started showing up uninvited. The footage shows multiple instances of her trying to break in when we weren't home, including one time when she tried to climb up the fire escape at 2 a.m. Mark reached out to me yesterday with even more disturbing information. He was going through old emails and found messages from Jennifer to his ex-girlfriend from 2 years ago. Apparently, Jennifer had systematically worked to break them up too, sending the ex anonymous messages claiming Mark was cheating, creating fake dating profiles with Mark's photos, and even hiring someone to flirt with him at a bar so she could take pictures and send them to his ex. Mark is devastated, realizing that Jennifer's issues run much deeper than any of us knew. Our parents' response to all this has been infuriating. When the university called them about Jennifer's behavior, they're still listed as her emergency contact. They claimed she was having a mental breakdown because of my cruel lies about her. They're paying for her to see some expensive therapist who, according to them, diagnosed Jennifer with temporary stress-induced psychosis caused by my emotional abuse of her. They've blocked my number and even moved to a new house, telling relatives not to give me their address because they're afraid I'll harass them like I harassed Jennifer. In the middle of all this chaos, something wonderful happened. Richard proposed last night. We were at home, eating takeout and watching old movies. We've been avoiding going out too much because of Jennifer, when he got down on one knee. He said he wanted to show everyone that nothing could break us apart, especially not Jennifer's desperate attempts to cause drama. The ring is beautiful, simple and elegant, exactly what I would have chosen for myself. I posted about our engagement on social media, mainly because most of our friends have been wondering how we're doing since Jennifer's meltdown. Within hours, Jennifer had created at least 10 fake accounts to comment on the post. She claimed Richard was a cheater, that he'd been secretly meeting her for months, that I was stealing her soulmate. She even posted a lengthy rant about how Richard had confessed his love for her during their secret meetings and was only marrying me because I was blackmailing him. The support from our real friends has been overwhelming. Many of them have watched Jennifer's behavior become increasingly erratic over the years and are finally speaking up. Several have come forward with stories about Jennifer trying to flirt with their boyfriends or husbands, always targeting the most attractive ones. Even our cousin Sarah admitted that Jennifer had tried to seduce her husband at their wedding rehearsal dinner. Richard's family has been incredible through all of this. His parents invited me to stay with them when Jennifer started her harassment campaign, and his sister has become one of my closest friends. His mom even offered to help plan the wedding, saying she's always wanted a daughter who was actually sane. She has strong opinions about Jennifer. The only bright side to all this drama is that it's shown me who my real family is. Richard's family has welcomed me with open arms, treating me with more love and respect than my own parents ever did. Our true friends have stood by us, seeing through Jennifer's lies and manipulation. I've started therapy, not the same therapist as Jennifer, obviously, to deal with all this. Richard and I are also looking at houses in different cities, thinking it might be time for a fresh start away from all this drama. We're not running away, we're choosing to build our life somewhere Jennifer can't reach us. The saddest part is that I don't even recognize my sister anymore. The Jennifer I grew up with was manipulative and spoiled, yes, but this new version of her is something else entirely. I'm not sure if she's truly having a mental break or if this is just who she's always been, finally exposed for everyone to see. Update: 2 things have taken an unexpected turn in the past few weeks. Just when I thought the situation couldn't get more complicated, Jennifer's former co-worker Lisa reached out to me through LinkedIn. Lisa worked as Jennifer's assistant at their investment firm. She messaged me saying she had important information about Jennifer that I needed to know. We met at a coffee shop far from Jennifer's usual haunts, and what Lisa told me left me stunned. Apparently, Jennifer had been having a months-long affair with their married boss, James Wilson, 45M. James is exactly Jennifer's type: tall, handsome, wealthy, and powerful. He's also been married for 15 years with 3 kids. Lisa showed me security footage from their office building. She had access to it because of her position as an assistant. The footage showed multiple instances of Jennifer and James in compromising situations: late-night meetings in his office, making out in the parking garage, sneaking into supply closets during lunch breaks. Lisa had saved these clips because James had been trying to fire her unfairly, and she was gathering evidence of his misconduct. But that wasn't all. Lisa also showed me emails between Jennifer and James, forwarded from the company's server. In these emails, Jennifer talked about how she was stuck with Mark, who she called boring and ugly, and how she deserved someone more attractive like James. She even complained about me and Richard, calling us the Beauty and the Beast in reverse and plotting ways to break us up so she could have a shot with him. While I was processing this information, Jennifer escalated her campaign against Richard and me. She actually hired a private investigator to follow us. We only found out because the pie had a conscience. He contacted Richard to let him know that he'd been hired to dig up dirt on us, but all he found was evidence of Jennifer stalking us. He gave us copies of photos showing Jennifer parked outside our apartment at odd hours, following us to restaurants, and lurking around Richard's university wearing different disguises. We took this evidence, along with Lisa's information, to the police and finally got a restraining order against Jennifer. She's now legally required to stay at least 500 feet away from us and can't contact us through any means. The real bombshell came when I decided to contact James's wife, Rachel. I found her on Facebook and sent her all the evidence, the security footage, the emails, everything. Rachel was devastated but grateful. She confronted James at a company dinner in front of all their colleagues. James tried to deny everything until Rachel started playing the security footage on the restaurant's big screen. She had reserved the private room with the AV system specifically for this. The fallout was massive. James was forced to resign to avoid a scandal. Jennifer was fired for creating a hostile work environment after multiple employees came forward with complaints about her behavior. Rachel filed for divorce the next day, and from what I hear, she's taking James for everything he's worth. Jennifer showed up at our parents' house with packed bags, mascara running down her face. She admitted to the affair, claiming James had manipulated her. He hadn't. The emails proved she was the aggressor. She begged them to let her move back in because she had nowhere else to go. That's when my parents finally saw Jennifer for who she really is. They called me for the first time in months, leaving a tearful voicemail apologizing for not believing me about her behavior. Mom admitted that they had enabled Jennifer's worst qualities her entire life, and now they were seeing the consequences. Dad sent me a long email detailing all the times they should have stepped in but didn't, all the times they dismissed my concerns and praised Jennifer's toxic behavior. They want to meet and talk things through. Richard thinks I should hear them out, saying that their apology seems genuine. He believes people can change when they're faced with undeniable evidence of their mistakes. But I'm not ready. The damage they caused by choosing Jennifer over me time and time again, by dismissing my feelings and gaslighting me about her behavior, that's not something a simple apology can fix. Through all this, Richard has been my rock. We're moving forward with wedding plans, though we're keeping the details private to prevent Jennifer from causing more drama. His family has been amazing, especially his mom who checks on me daily and has become the mother figure I always needed. I'm not sure what happens next. Jennifer's life is imploding, my parents are finally seeing the truth, and I'm finally free from the drama that's dominated the past few months. Part of me feels vindicated, but mostly I just feel sad for the family relationship I never really had. Richard says I should take time to process everything before making any decisions about my relationship with my parents. For now, that's exactly what I plan to do. Their apologies, while appreciated, don't erase years of choosing Jennifer over me. Final update: I wasn't planning to update again, but recent events made me feel I needed to share what's happened. Last week, I received a series of frantic calls from my parents that changed everything. Apparently, Jennifer has disappeared with James, her former married boss. After his divorce was finalized and he lost almost everything to his ex-wife Rachel, James somehow managed to reconcile with Jennifer. According to my parents, Jennifer and James emptied their bank accounts, sold their cars, and vanished without a trace. The only evidence they left was a short email to my parents saying they were starting fresh where no one could judge their love. The irony of the situation isn't lost on me. Jennifer, who spent months trying to break up my relationship with Richard because he was too handsome for me, has run away with a now broke, disgraced executive who lost his family, job, and reputation because of their affair. My parents showed up at our doorstep last Sunday, looking desperate and aged. Mom was crying, saying they tried every possible way to find Jennifer. They'd hired private investigators, contacted the police, and even reached out to Jennifer's old friends from college. No one knows where she and James went. Dad kept saying they were worried James might be manipulating her, conveniently forgetting how Jennifer was always the manipulator in every situation. They begged me to help find Jennifer, saying I was good with computers, I'm a graphic designer, not a hacker, and might be able to track her down. They even suggested I ask Richard to use his university connections to help locate her. When I refused, Mom broke down completely, saying they couldn't lose both daughters. I reminded them that they'd already lost me, the day they chose to believe Jennifer's lies and kicked me out of their lives. I reminded them of every time they dismissed my feelings, every time they enabled Jennifer's behavior, every time they made me feel less than her. Dad tried to interrupt with more apologies, but I wasn't finished. I told them about all the therapy sessions I needed to deal with their favoritism, all the nights I cried wondering why my parents couldn't love me as much as they loved Jennifer. Richard and I have built a beautiful life together. We got married 6 months ago in an intimate beach ceremony, surrounded by his loving family and our true friends. My parents weren't invited, that was my choice. Richard's mom walked me down the aisle, and it felt more right than having my father do whatever would have. My freelance business has taken off, I'm now earning more than I ever did before, with clients who value my work. Richard got tenured at his university, and we bought a lovely house in a quiet neighborhood 3 states away from my family. We're even talking about starting a family of our own. Last month, when my parents showed up unannounced for the second time, I didn't even open the door. I watched through the security camera as they left a letter begging for my help in finding Jennifer. I took the letter straight to our fire pit that evening. Some might think I'm being cruel, but I finally found peace in my life. I no longer jump when my phone rings or worry about running into Jennifer at local stores. I don't have to deal with my parents' constant comparisons or feel like I'm not good enough. Richard sometimes asks if I miss them, and honestly, I miss the family I wish they were, not the family they actually were. I miss the sister who could have been my best friend, not the jealous woman who tried to steal my happiness. I miss the parents who could have loved me for who I am, not the ones who only saw me in Jennifer's shadow. Yesterday, I got an anonymous email, probably from Jennifer, with just 2 words, I'm happy. I deleted it without responding. Her happiness is no longer my concern, just as my happiness is no longer any of their business. Sometimes the best family is the one you choose, and I've chosen a life without their drama. For those wondering, yes, I've heard the rumors that Jennifer and James were spotted in Mexico. No, I haven't passed this information to my parents. Some chapters of our lives need to stay closed, and this is one of them.